HyddenWell farmers. I've got my burners going tonight because it's a cold evening. Not super cold, but it's cold in the garage, I'll tell you that. I love my propane burners. They are awesome when it comes to heat. I mean, if you want some quick heat, these things will definitely pump it out for you. And I heard a really good joke today. Being a sheep farmer, I thought it was quite appropriate. What do you call a bunch of sheep running down a hill? A landslide. Okay, they're a little too hot. Woo! Burning me. Good to see everybody, HyddenWell farmers, and I'm glad that you're here this evening. I wanted to tell you a little story about my Uncle Vocus. Now, my Uncle Vocus was my great Uncle Vocus. He was my grandfather's brother. And there was 16 of those kids in that family. And Vocus was also my Aunt Louise's husband. And Aunt Louise lived next to me here for 15, 16 years before she passed away. But I have a lot of memories of Vocus from my youth and from my time. Now, I'll go back and tell you that I've always had, dogs in my life of some nature or some form, because we always had hunting dogs and beagles. And as I was growing up, it wasn't uncommon for me to go down to where we had the beagles, and I'd crawl up into their dog house, and I'd lay there and pet on them and go to sleep and wake up, and people be looking for me, and I've been sleeping in the dog house, which I do a lot with my wife for different reasons now. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. When we were younger, we would go out to Vocus's house in Louise, and we would visit and all that kind of stuff. And I remember this one trip in particular. Vocus had a whole bunch of these hunting dogs. He had a whole bunch of rabbit dogs. I don't remember what they were doing. They were either down at the creek eating something, or they had gotten in a fight. I don't know. But whatever they were doing, Uncle Vocus had come off the porch, and he was horribly upset at these dogs. And he was shooing them back up to the house. And while he was shooing them, I was behind him, just a 7-year-old kid tagging along. That's what you do when you're a 7-year-old boy. I was just tagging along, and I'll never forget, Uncle Vocus says, "You get your tail back up there, you..." And of course, coming from a very religious family, is also a very conservative family, and also shocked that he called this dog a bitch. I began to shame him. I was like, "Woo! I can't believe you said that. You're going to die and go to hell, Uncle Vocus." And that was the comedy of the day. I mean, everywhere they would go. They would be telling about how I had changed. And I just did not understand what was so funny. My great uncle had said this curse word, and I had shamed him like I was supposed to do, and everybody thought it was really funny. So it wasn't until a little bit later, I can't remember who it was that explained it to me, but somebody said, well, a bitch is actually a female dog. It's not until later that people have turned it into profanity or used it in bad ways, but that's what a dog is. She's considered a bitch. We use different terms now, like we'll call them gyps, or we'll call them female dogs. You don't usually hear somebody calling some dog a bitch. But when we were growing up here around the house one day, I remember that I had done had this reaction with Uncle Vocus, and my boys were little and stuff like that. I don't know. We were out going on and stuff like that, and the dogs were acting up, and I took a switch, I think, and I threw it at one of the dogs for whatever he's doing. I said, "You get back in my house." Alan and Ken went, they just went into total froze mode. You know, because and then they kind of looked at each other, and Alan, always being the proper talker, was like, "Dad, what? You can't say stuff like that." "Why not? That's what she is." and my experiment worked. They were so taken aback with me calling that female dog up. And so, of course, they went in and immediately told their mama on me. My wife Susan was again not impressed, hence more doghouse time. But I digress. Uncle Vocus was a great guy. He loved to raise tobacco. He loved to hunt his dogs, and I always tell this story on Uncle Vocus. I always use his name. It's not true. It's just a joke. But I always tell people that I had Uncle Vocus one day. We was at his house, and his dogs had went over the mountain, and they had disappeared. And he come back mad at the house, and he's like, "You need to go over there and get my dogs back. I know that Clarence has got my dogs. He's a dog-stealing thief." And so us boys got on our bikes and we headed over the mountain to go get Uncle Vocus's dogs back. And we got to the railroad tracks and we saw the sign, and we turned around and come back home. And Vocus says, "You get my dogs?" And I said, "No, sir. We got down there and saw that sign. It said Clarence, 9'10" on that bridge, and we wasn't going in there." I love that joke anyway. Well, that's story time for HyddenWell. God bless. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Have a great Thanksgiving. I just hope you have the best Thanksgiving ever, that you get to spend some time with some of your family. We're kind of disjointed this year. We're not going to get together like we had. We've had some death in the family and some different situations that have popped up this Thanksgiving. But all's good, and God's good, and God bless. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.